Hey, in this lesson, the challenge is it's going to be relatively straightforward, where we're going to be updating some meta information in the HTML page that we created in the last lesson. So what I want you to do is to add the viewport and then set the content settings. And I'll also walk you through how to add that in as metadata, and then also specify the character set that we're going to be using. And the character set we're using within this page is the UTF-8. So this is all meta information, and you can pause the video and I'll walk you through how to set this up on your page. And by default, you should have this information in your page. And what viewport does is it allows you to the browser to view an area of the web page content. And there's more information on what viewport is and how that works over at the Mozilla Developer Network. So it's within the metadata, and it helps control the layout on mobile browsers. And this day and age, when you are creating a website, you should be ready and mobile friendly. So there's more information about the viewport and all of the basic settings for viewport. So we set it within the metadata, and we set name to viewport, and the default is going to be the initial scale of 1:1. So the width is going to be whatever the device width is. And the device width controls the size of the viewport. So you can specify a number of pixels, or you can set it to device width, and the width will be whatever the 100%. So the CSS will scale to 100%. And then also we have the initial scale, and this also controls the zoom level of the page when it's first loaded. So there's a maximum scale, minimum scale, user scalables. There's a bunch of options here, but typically, most websites are just going to do initial scale of 1. So what this means is that it's going to share whatever the screen size is, the maximum screen size, so 100%, and the initial width will be 100. So you can also set by pixels, and there's a bunch of information here that you can do to set your width and screen size. So here's what you can read through if you want at the Mozilla Developer Network. But we're just going to be going with the basics and something that's commonly done with the viewport, and that's just setting the default meta information. So the meta typically sits within the head section of the website page. So this is, again, content that is not going to be seen by the user. It's going to be used by the browser in order to help better render out the content. So what we do is we set the attribute name, set that to viewport, and then we set the content. And this one is going to be width. So first we set the width, and we saw that we had some options. So we're setting whatever the device width is, and this is the one that you're typically going to see. And then we've also got the initial scale, and we're setting the initial scale to 1, and then we're closing off that meta tag. So we also did have the character set that we wanted to look at for the meta tags. So this is another one that you can look up. And I'm over at the Mozilla Developer Network, so you can go into the search and search for different tags that you want to look up and find out more about. And in this case, we're doing the meta character set. So that's within the search. And this is going to return back the information that we're looking for. So the HTML element represents metadata, and it cannot be represented by other HTML elements. So this is all sitting within the meta. And there's also even more information about meta over here. So this is the character set that we're looking at, and it declares the documents, character, and coding. So the attribute present, its value must be ASC. So usually we're just using UTF-8. And this, again, this isn't going to be we use the uppercase UTF-8, so it's the valid coding for HTML documents. So make sure that we are setting that up, and now all we need to do is add it to the page. And you can also see there's a bunch of other attributes that you can add within the metadata. So typically what we're doing is we're just going to be adding in the meta character set UTF-8 into the page. So let's go back over to our document, and just above within the meta where we set the viewport, this is where we're going to be setting the character set. And this allows us, or allows the browser, once again, just to be able to better render out the content. So go ahead, add it to your project, and then this is going to give you a default web page that you can use for your website, and this what you can use as a template going forward, and you just need to change the title and the H1, and you're ready to go to create a number of different web pages from that template.